To you out there, and welcome to the month of December. Happy new month. Oh, December anyway go, like we say in this part of the world. Welcome. And the Christmas bells are ringing slowly but surely, and we are in the season. And of course, it is a great thing indeed. We're alive in the land of the living, and we're grateful to God for everything that He has done for us, what He is doing for us, what He'll continue to do for us. Of course, that's why we're here at the Afia Sports Review Sports, the first edition in the month of December. And this will be a December to remember, not just in everything about the world, but sports particularly, because that's what we're all about. Welcome to the show, guys. You can catch us here on Afia TV, channel 254 DSTV, channel 748 Free TV, and channel 17 Go TV. Welcome, and I'm not doing this alone, of course. Who is the I in question? None other than your host, CC Emechebe, popularly known as CC the Rabbi, and I have a co-host here today, none other than Emeka Madoka, the priest of football himself.
Thank you for having me this evening. It's a pleasure to be here.
A pleasure indeed. So November has gone, December is here.
Oh yes, let's kick it off with the last month and see how it goes before the new year comes.
I like the way you said kick, because there's been a lot of kicking that's going on lately. And we'll talk about that kicking in a bit. But first of all, we're going to go straight to the headlines. We have so much to talk about. From the local scene to the international scene, and sports is something that we just love so much, but it has the good, the bad, and the ugly. So many powered and charged scenes to expect, but I mean that's basically what the game is all about. We'll start from the home front. First of all, the first bit of news we have is from the NNL, that is the Nigerian National League, which is the second tier of the football pyramid in Nigeria. And what's the news about? Ebenezer Harcourt, I'm sure you must have heard that name. You remember that name? The youngest ever player for the Super Eagles of Nigeria at 15. Yes, he's 15. At 15 in the Super Eagles setup there, but he's an under 20 player, being 15 years of age. He was part of the Chan Eagles that did not do particularly well against Sudan, and then of course the then defending champion Senegal in the African Nations Championship earlier this year. But still, he's gotten himself down, and right now as we speak, he has made his debut for his new team, Sporting Lagos. Remember Sporting Lagos? That's from Lagos there, that used to be in the Npfl. They are currently plying their trade in the NNL, and the goalkeeper Ebenezer Harcourt is part of the proceedings there, doing what he knows how to do best, and that is guarding the post of his team. And we go straight to the CAF Schools Football Championship. And Nigeria, I want to tell you, this championship, the CAF Schools Football Championship, is taking place in Ouagadougou, Burkina Faso. And Nigeria is paired up in the same group with Côte d'Ivoire, that is Ivory Coast, and Benin Republic. I'm sure Benin Republic will get really tired of seeing Nigeria, considering the fact that just recently in the World Cup qualifiers, Nigeria put to the sword Benin Republic 4-0. And as if Benin Republic is not tired of seeing Nigeria, matters have become worse, because the next headline we have here has to do with the Nigeria Special Eagles. Nigerian Special Eagles thrash Benin Republic 11-0 at the first West Africa Para Games Zone A and B. So that's the Special Eagles. Those that I like to call them differently abled. Those who are not as abled as what we call in this part of the world. Those who are some will call them disabled, but it's not particularly correct to call them disabled. So they are special needs people. Let's just put it that way. So this is the Olympic. This is more like the games for the special needs individuals who are sports inclined. So that's why they are the Special Eagles, and they've shown their superiority over their counterparts, their Beninois counterparts, by mauling them by 11-0 unreplied. Such is the dominance, what we call in this part of the world, Nkali, from here, the southeast, Enugu to be precise. So we'll go straight to the other bits of news we have. The Npfl, the Nigerian Premier Football League, which is the top tier in the football pyramid in Nigeria, and we're going to give you results in the Npfl. Things that happened, matches that were taking place there in round 15 of the Npfl, and we have the results of those games that took place. First of all, we begin with Bendel Insurance. Bendel Insurance grabbed a victory, comprehensive victory over Wiki Tourists, 3-0, while Niger Tornadoes got a win, a very narrow win over the defending champions Remo Stars, 1-0. Warri Wolves, by the same scoreline, beat Nasarawa United, second place Nasarawa United, by 1-0. Kun Khalifat, who are one of the newly promoted sides, the Oriental side, got a very, very vital win, a 2-0 win over Plateau United. And still speaking of United, the battle of the Uniteds between Bayelsa United and Katsina United, hosting at the Samson Siasa Stadium in Bayelsa, Yenagoa to be precise, ended up in a 1-1 draw. Then Barao FC, the Kano-based side, put Kwara United to the sword in a 5-goal thriller. They edged it by 3-2. Then Ikorodu City, the league leaders, beat Abia Warriors 1-0. Oga boys, right now we're looking at them, boys to men. Clearly, that's what they are at the moment. And then 3SC, Shooting Stars of Ibadan, beat El Kanemi Warriors 1-0. Rivers United versus Kano Pillars, that game was postponed because Rivers United are still engaged in the CAF Champions League group stage. Well, for now, because it's looking a bit bleak for them. We'll get to that in a bit. And then Rivers United will still play Kano Pillars in 2 days' time by 4 p.m. That's one of the games that they're going to play. They will host Kano Pillars. That game will be replayed on, or rather will be played, not replayed, will be played on Wednesday the 3rd. But there is one game that we're going to look at right now, and that is the Oriental Derby. And that was Enyimba, 9-time champions, most successful side in the Npfl history, hosting our dearly beloved Flying Antelopes, that is Rangers International of Enugu, the second most successful side in Nigerian domestic league history with 8 titles. But it was not to be because Fidelis Ilechukwu's boys got themselves beaten by 2-1 by their Abia counterparts, Enyimba, the People's Elephant. So the Elephants are too strong for the Antelopes, and it ended up 2-1. And, well, even if you look at the league table, Enyimba are still below Rangers.
On the
they are
table,
9th on the log. I think, 9th on the log on the table.
Yes.
Rangers are two positions ahead of them. That's 7th on the log. But I think one of the major... Rangers did well. Let me just say they did well. Enyimba wanted it more. They had home advantage.
Yes.
But one of my takeaways from that is, there was a little bit of fight. They should have done better, hopefully, even if it's to get a draw. But Kenechukwu Ago, how good is that player? He scored a free kick. The consolation goal was a beautiful free kick he scored, and ended up 2-1.
There are positives you can also take out from the Rangers defeat as well. I mean, the beautiful free kick that you pointed out there. It's good to see that we have quality free kick takers in the squad. We have players that can fight for that badge. You have players that can give it their all. Yes, they fell short in the Oriental Derby. This is something you see in big derbies. I mean, somebody has to win, somebody has to lose. And unfortunately, at this point, it had to be Rangers. So they just have to move past that, look on to the next match. They have to keep the focus up. Fidelis and his boys have to just keep the mentality high. They've been on a good run of form. Yeah, this is just a pause in that form. They need to pick up the form again, continue from where they stopped, get themselves higher up in the table again, until they are sure they can get themselves into the conversation for the title race as well. Good luck, good one from Enyimba there. I mean, they needed it more. They had the home advantage. They had this and that. So there were a lot of factors that worked in favor of Enyimba in that game, and kudos to them. The Elephants were just stronger than the Antelopes on the end of the day.
Okay, so we're going to look at we're going to look right now. We're going to look at the league table and show you how the standings are in the Npfl match week after 15 rounds with 13 rounds to go. 23 rounds to go, I beg your pardon. The league table reads this way. Ikorodu City, like you said, Oga Boys are top of the log, with Nasarawa United second on the log, and Niger Tornadoes are third. Rivers United, who are really looking very good at the moment, they are fourth on the log with 3 games in hand. Well, get this, Rivers United have 23 points, which means those 3 games in hand are a potential 9 points, which could give them 32 points. And that's very, very impressive, considering the fact that Ikorodu City are 27 points to the good. And then Abia Warriors are 5th, Warrior Wolves 6th. Like I said earlier, Rangers International, Enugu Rangers are 7th, Katsina United are 8th, and Enyimba 9th, Shooting Stars of Ibadan 10th, Bayelsa United are 11th, Wiki Tourists 12th, Remo Stars 13th, Kwara United 14th, El Kanemi Warriors 15th, Kun Khalifat are 16th. Then in the relegation zone, we have Bendel Insurance 17th on Lobarao FC 18th, and then Plateau United are 19th, and then the rock bottom team, the basement boys, are Kano Pillars, who are 20th on the log. We know that Rivers United are in 4th position, like we said, which is a bit impressive. Yes. And we hope that they do better than that, because they are meant to be making us proud in the CAF Champions League. But some sad things happen in the CAF Champions League, and I think It's not a matter of if, but when. Pretty much, I think they are out. Let's just say that they're out because there's no turning back from this. Rivers United in a match day 2 fixture in the CAF Champions League. Remember, they share the same group with the defending champions, Pyramids FC of Egypt, RS Berkane of Morocco, and Power Dynamos of Zambia. And as it stands right now, it is looking very bleak indeed. Only a miracle will make Rivers United qualify if they are not already out based on calculations. But having lost their first game in the CAF Champions League to the defending champions, that is Pyramids FC of Egypt, thanks to a hat-trick, it was 3-0, all 3 goals scored by Abdel Atif, who scored that hat-trick, the attacking midfielder. Now they had to go there and try their best to get a result. They took the lead in the first half against RS Berkane at home at the Adoke Masimaka Stadium, but unfortunately, deep in the game, 90th minute, they were leading. 90th minute, it was a win. 90th minute, but in the 7th minute of stoppage time, they got the equalizer. That is RS Berkane, the Moroccan side. And then just a minute later, that was what broke the spirits of Rivers United. In the 8th minute of stoppage time, they grabbed the winner. So Rivers United are just wondering what happened. That is what you call snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. Everybody is disappointed. We are gutted because they are our last hope when it comes to
The CAF
continental football, whether it's the CAF Champions League or CAF Confederations Cup. But how do these boys pick themselves up from this kind of
It's normally difficult to pick yourself up from a situation like this, especially when you lost the first match and it was all to do for in the second game. And okay, yes, the spirits were high, the energy, the morale was there, that we can go there, get positive results. They took the lead very early on and left it late to concede late goals. Yes, you say the equalizer came 90 plus 7 minutes. That will have just been, okay, settling for a draw in the minds of Rivers United, taking a solitary point. But the game wasn't ended there. They had to have fought to keep that solitary point. They didn't. After conceding the first goal, it seemed like they just fell apart and allowed the second fall into the net. And that's where they find themselves in this predicament right now, because it's, like you said, only a miracle from God that the other teams in the group mess up and they get an opportunity to qualify.
Let's the thing about it, the good thing about it is there's still a little bit of hope. It's just part of the ideal scenario for every team that is serious about qualifying from the group stage of this Champions League. And by the way, this particular CAF Champions League is not following the European format, UEFA format, which is the league stage format. It's still the old round robin format where you have 4 teams rather who are playing 6 games each. 6 games, that's home and away. That's how it is right now. So as it stands right now, Rivers United still have 4 games to go. And those 4 games are very, very vital games, which means that they're going to be playing a doubleheader against Power Dynamos. The next game that they're going to play in the CAF Champions League will be on the 23rd of January. It's still next year, so it's still a month away.
I mean, they have a month to prepare themselves.
Yes, Power Dynamos, it's going to be a month away. What I'm saying is that they're going to play away. So back-to-back, first game was an away game, which they lost. Second game, a home game, which they lost. Now, this third game, an away game, they're traveling to Zambia to play against Power Dynamos. But match week 4,
they return back home to face Dynamo.
And they must ensure, because this kind of situation is, you must make sure you win your home games and try to get something very positive. Hopefully a win, worst case scenario, a draw in your away games. They've already failed at the first hurdle with the defending champions. And they have lost.
It's not all hope, like you said, looks bleak but not lost at the moment. It's 4 games to go. It's 4 games that they used to decide their destinies in the continental stages. You go away now to Zambia now, and you play, get a solitary point, or probably do all you can and get all 3 points. Now, scenario comes, they get the 3 points. That's good. They can build up from that performance and go back home. Build on that, get another positive result. That's 6 points on the table there. Then you now prepare for the Premier League FC again. Try your best to get either a draw or a win if you can. And then your destiny is in your hands. It's all to do for in the last game.
Okay, very interesting and something that we need to look at. So, like I said, Power Dynamos is the next opponent that the Rivers United are going to be facing by 5 p.m. on the 23rd of January 2026. You'll have other games to play. Of course, the next game is going to be on the 30th of January, and that's by 5 p.m., where they will host the same Power Dynamos. So that dynamic has to go on. We'll give you more details as it approaches. We'll take a very short break and we'll be right back and move straight to Europe because there's a lot to discuss in Europe. Stay tuned, don't touch that dial. This is the Afia Sports Review Spot on Afia TV. We'll be right back after this message. Welcome back to the Afia Sports Review Spot on Afia TV. It is great to be here on this show. The first day of the month of December 2025. We thank God once again. And welcome back, guys. We are now down in Europe discussing things concerning sports generally in Europe, but particularly we're looking at the English Premier League because so many things happen. Very dynamic games indeed, and we'll talk about that. But to discuss that with me, I have our very own queen, Chikeze Chioma. Good to have you.
Yeah, nice to be here to talk about all that happened in Europe, especially in the Premier League over the weekend. And yeah, it's great to be here. Let's do this.
Right, so let's dig into it. We have Premier League games that took place, and it's looking very, very important. And one thing about this set of fixtures that happened, and this month of December is a very busy month because back games. Tomorrow we're going to have Premier League fixtures, the next tomorrow and all that. Some teams are going to play as many as 4, 5, maybe even 6 games this December alone. That's a very, very tough one indeed. But talking about what happened on match day 13, and remember 13 is about roughly a third of the season. And normally you have an idea where some teams are going to find themselves when you reach that milestone of the first third. So looking at the first third of the season, we had some results that were there. Brentford beat Burnley by 3 goals to 1. Brentford beat Burnley by 3 goals to 1 in that game at the GTEC Community Stadium. And we saw Sunderland beat Bournemouth, 10-man Bournemouth, 3 goals to 2 at the Stadium of Light. Manchester City, by the same scoreline, 3 goals to 2. Very, very unconvincing City performance, to be frank. They beat Leeds United at Etihad Stadium 3 goals to 2. Thanks to Phil Foden. Foden scored in the first minute and then scored the last goal of the game in the 90th minute. So he began the scoring, ended the scoring to spare their blushes because he sealed the goal that proved to be the difference in that game against Leeds United. Everton were battered, bashed and bruised. After the euphoria of their win at Old Trafford against Manchester United, they could only succumb to a 4-1 thrashing at the Hill Dickinson Stadium to Newcastle United. The Toffees were dismantled by the Magpies. And then Tottenham Hotspur, Tottenham are very, very, Spursy, I guess you call them that, because they lost at home at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium to Fulham. This was a London derby, Fulham winning them by 2 goals to 1. And then Crystal Palace lost by the same scoreline to a spirited Manchester United who rallied back and got back into the game thanks to goals from Joshua Zirkzee, which was the equalizer after Jean-Philippe Mateta's penalty in the first half, and then the winning goal scored by Mason Mount, the former Chelsea midfielder. And we also saw Nottingham Forest, who got lost in their own forest thanks to goals from Brighton, 2-0. Brighton and Hove Albion beat them at the Forest ground, 2 goals to 0. And then Aston Villa in the Midlands derby beat the pointless, hapless, hopeless Wolves, because really they call themselves Wolves, but they are anything but. You can't call them a pack of wolves. Wolves will feel insulted when you see the kind of results that these players have been bringing about, because they are yet to record a single win in the Premier League this season with 2 draws. Is it 2 draws? Yes, 2 draws. Yeah. That's all they have. It's not a matter of if, but when they'll be going to the championship. It is so clear to all right now.
They might even do it earlier than...
Very much earlier, we're approaching Christmas, and they are very likely to be rock bottom by Christmas. And only one team has survived. One team has survived relegation, having been rock bottom by Christmas, and that was West Bromwich Albion in 2004-2005 season. 20 years ago, man, it ain't happening again. Then we had Liverpool get a win. I won't really call it a convincing win. Yeah, they got Isak opened his account for Newcastle for Liverpool 1-0 at the London Stadium against West Ham United. Then after Luis Paquetá got himself sent off with a red card, then the game was sealed in the second half. It was sealed there, and they won 2-0. The goal was scored by Cody, the Dutchman, and it was 2-0 at the London Stadium. And then the match that everybody has been talking about and have had different views concerning has to be the London derby between Chelsea Football Club and Arsenal Football Club. Arsenal, the league leaders, could only muster a draw against Chelsea, a spirited fight that had more stoppages than you can imagine, because it was stop start, a lot of rough housing and fouls, cards. Arsenal even picked up 6 yellow cards in the game, and they've been given a £25,000 fine, because according to the FIFA rules, any team that, and it's not an English FA rule, it's a FIFA rule proper. So anytime a team picks up 6 yellow cards, that team is fined because of that kind of indiscipline. So 6 yellow cards. Chelsea picked up their own yellow cards, but what was so striking was that Moises Caicedo got himself sent off for showing the whole world that he is a very solid 6, but not much more than that. That is the simple truth. Because as a 6, he was fouling up and down, tackling, and that's usually what 6s are meant to do. So what I feel in this game, there's a lot to, Chairman, you're going to talk us through some of these things. But what I feel, this is one of the things I feel. I think that the young man was under a bit of pressure. 23-year-old man who obviously had been hearing the narrative that had been going around, the comparison, the many Chelsea fans had taken to social media and different accounts and started pointing out the pound for pound comparison between Arsenal players and Chelsea players. And then the loss fell on him versus Declan Rice. That is a better midfielder than Declan Rice. So you could see, because there were tackles flying left, right, center, you could see that. And this is, in fairness to Chelsea, they put up a spirited fight. They fought. They went down to 10 men. It was Caicedo got sent off. But Chelsea were more aggressive. Chelsea were more passionate. Chelsea were more purposeful. But what I feel, and it's not particularly an indictment on him, but what I feel is that he let the occasion get to him. He was trying to prove too much.
I agree with you to an extent. But aside all of those, when you look at London derbies, I mean, Chelsea had to take it with a lot of seriousness. Unlike for the Arsenal side, I felt like they were a bit complacent. Past history got into them. Before that game, it was already 8 games without any win, both home and away for Chelsea. In fact, last time Chelsea managed the draw at Stamford Bridge should be like about 3-4 years ago.
No, Stamford Bridge. No, this is a 3 consecutive draws at Stamford Bridge proper.
So it was quite want to go all out for. And if you look at that team, where the fight was practically in the midfield. Because I mean, you look at the Arsenal midfield, they have Declan Rice, they have Ebenezer who can actually also contribute to the midfield. They have Odegaard, masterclass Odegaard, and then you have, like I mentioned, Declan Rice. So, and then you look at the Chelsea side, it was more like Moses Caicedo alone, just have to run this midfield. And as a CC, just have to put that work. And then the comparison between himself and Declan Rice added more pressure on the young man. And it was not just football fans. I've heard a lot of pundits saying, oh, he's a better midfielder than Declan Rice. He's the best midfielder in Premier League currently and all. And what other match do you need to prove your worth? What other match do you need to tell the world that, oh, you want to live up to the hype? It was against Arsenal. They're basically the best team in the world currently. They are far above the others. So if you're going against an Arsenal side, you just have to do all your best. I feel like the whole thing got into him. He lost control of his emotions, and he just wanted to get every tackle that he feels was, reachable to him. But it is what it is. It's what is expected of a London derby, especially when it has to be Chelsea, Arsenal. So I am a bit disappointed. In fact, not a bit. I am highly disappointed with Arsenal. Yes, I am highly disappointed. It's looking like these days, being 10 men is more like a fuel, to ginger the other team to do the unthinkable. I mean, last time we saw 10 men Everton beat Manchester United, and then yesterday we saw 10 men Chelsea almost snatching a win from Arsenal. Arsenal had to come from behind, to get the equalizer at the end of the day. But also some fans are also complaining that Anthony Taylor, I don't know, there was a bit of inconsistency. I mean, some were complaining that the foul,
Hincape's foul on
elbow
Chalobah
on Chalobah would have been a red card also. I mean, but it's referee's discretion. He knows what the intention. Not these days they compare an accident not just by how it looks. There are a lot of metrics to it. You compare the intention behind it. What was the player trying to do, and all of those scenarios before coming to a decision. Maybe those are one of the things, or some of the things that Anthony Taylor looked at and decided to just take that one away. But the game was as expected.
Well, I have a couple of theories, but let me just look at that. Like for instance, that's a subject of controversy. Many of those yellow cards were rightly so. Even Moses Caicedo's red card was an upgraded yellow card.
Yeah.
She was upgraded to red card after VAR summoned Anthony Taylor to come and examine it. He checked it, and so it was a reckless tackle. He was even trying to be smart by rolling on the ground and doing everything. So, well, anyway, sometimes gamemanship comes into it. But one would argue that Hincape elbowing Chalobah was not actually looking in the direction of Chalobah when he did that. And you could also see, so he picked up a yellow card. Then just something happened right at the blow of the whistle, halftime. Enzo Fernandez, who for me, well, I have one or two things to look at, but Enzo Fernandez, he put fingers in the face of Mosquera just as the whistle was about to blow, but he was looking away. Now, it's difficult to say that he intended to do it. The same way it's difficult to say that Hincape intended to tackle him. So I think referees are in a very, very tight position sometimes to give calls like this. Yeah. But what I want to, this is my theory before we move from here and then go to the next point. We're going to look at the table and see how it is. Chelsea knew that they were up against an Arsenal side, like you said, that was the best team in the world in terms of current form. And they wanted to reclaim some honor. They wanted to battle. They were aggressive. They did a lot of fouling. They did a lot of, the stoppages were down to a lot of the clearances. Of course, they gave a very, very friendly welcome to Noni Madueke when he came on. You could see when he was tackled severely. Yeah. I don't even know why that wasn't a yellow card. Enzo Fernandez. Fernandez screamed in his face.
Yeah.
He and Cucurella rather, and then they moved off. But I have a theory. I feel, Arsenal had two very high-powered games over the weekend and over the week. That's the North London derby, where they gave one of their best performances in the Premier League this season. Then the Bayern game, which was easily one of the best, if not the best performance in Europe this season against all odds. So stretched there, having played a day later than Chelsea. So they had a day less to rest before that game. Arsenal probably did not want to exert themselves as much as possible. Now, yes, I blame Arteta a little bit for not tinkering the game a bit more and then bringing in some impetus there. But it's credit to Chelsea. Credit to Chelsea.
Yeah, for credit to Chelsea. And again, smart for Arteta if we look at it. If we want to look at it holistically and consider other options. I mean, this is a Premier League. It's a marathon. We're just in week 13. Yeah. We have about 25 more games to go. So whatever result happens, the most important thing, ensure you don't lose. Ensure you don't lose. And whatever thing happens, you have other games to, rectify it. But if you pick up an injury on a very important player that will send that player out of the season, it becomes very problematic for whatever the Mikel Arteta and his boys are chasing. So for me, I think it's just being cautious. You're still leading at the top of the table. If you grab a draw, you're still 5 points ahead of whoever is coming second. So I think it was wise enough for him to try to protect his players. And for Chelsea, like I said, they just needed to prove a point. 8 games and not picking up any win, both home and away. That's a lot for a side like Chelsea, who pride themselves as pride of London. So they would want to make statement, and I think that was what happened. And unfortunately, they picked up a red card again for Moses Caicedo. And it's going to tell a lot in their game
The next 3 games.
Their next 3 games, and then I mean he's going to be Leeds, and oh wow.
Yeah, there's the fixture list is there. We would have to verify that. But you know, okay. Last question for we'll go on a very short break after this. Last question. From the 2 angles, from the Arsenal perspective and then from the Chelsea perspective, I want to put you on the spot right now.
Okay.
Points gained, 2 points lost. Arsenal.
Point gained, 1, 2 point loss.
Which of them?
It's difficult. Personally, I would say it's point gain. It's okay.
Point gain for Arsenal.
Yeah, for us now.
Okay. Consider the circumstances.
I mean,
the fact that they had to
considering
come from behind
Mourinho's goal and everything, and then looking forward to what's ahead. I mean.
Okay, because they have Brentford.
They have Brentford. They have a lot of games to cover.
Derby. So 3 consecutive London derbies. London derbies are never very easy. Okay. So from a Chelsea perspective, point gain, point lost. 2 points lost, by the way. Point gain, 2 points lost.
Lost for them.
2 points lost.
Yes, because I mean they are down to 3rd. Man City is currently ahead of them in 2nd position. I know how it could just be for Chelsea. Chelsea are a very inconsistent side. They only do so well when it looks like the whole world is against them. When it looks like everybody's
mentality.
I mean, when it's like everybody is against it, like nothing you can do. That's when you just see that boom, they are from nowhere taking the lead and doing wonders. But let's see how it goes for them. I won't be surprised if they lose against Leeds United this midweek.
Okay, I don't know. That's a surprise. But we'll look at the next the fixtures. For the Premier League. That is this current campaign. That is this midweek from match week 14. We're going to take a look at the fixtures. They're coming up on the screen in a bit, and let's have them. Let's have the fixtures right now. Round of 14 in the EPL. We're going to have. And that's from tomorrow. We have Fulham playing host to Manchester City, and then Bournemouth hosting Everton, and Newcastle United hosting Tottenham Hotspur. Those are the 3 games that will be played tomorrow, being the 2nd of December. That's Tuesday, the 2nd of December. The first game is by 1:30. The first 2 games, Fulham and Man City, and then Bournemouth Everton are by 8:30 p.m. While Newcastle United hosting Tottenham Hotspur is by 9:15 p.m. Then on Wednesday, Arsenal Football Club will be hosting Brentford in that London derby I talked about at the Emirates. And then by 8:30, Brighton and Hove Albion will be hosting Aston Villa by the same time, 8:30. Wolverhampton Wanderers will be hosting Nottingham Forest in another Midlands derby by the same 8:30. And then Burnley will be hosting Crystal Palace at Turf Moor by 8:30. The same time, on the 3rd. Then Liverpool will be hosting Sunderland by 9:15 p.m. That will be the same time Leeds United and Chelsea will be playing at Elland Road by 9:15 p.m. And then one game will be played on Saturday. One play is going to be played rather on the 4th. Manchester United against West Ham United. That's going to be on the 4th. The 4th. That is by 9 p.m. The 4th is Thursday. Thursday the 4th of December 2025. Okay, so those are the fixtures. We'll be right back after this short break. Stay tuned, please don't touch that down. To the final leg of the Afia Sports Review Spot on Afia TV. Of course, this is the home of champions, indeed, and the 1st of December, year of our Lord 2025. We are going to be talking right now about the last part of this show. And we're going straight to the Spanish La Liga, one of the most dynamic and interesting and entertaining leagues in world football. So we have some results from round 14 in Spanish La Liga, where Getafe beat Elche 1-0, and Mallorca actually had a draw against Osasuna 2-2. It was a 2-2 draw. FC Barcelona grabbed a 3-1 win over Alaves. Those goals were scored, of course, by Dani Olmo, a brace for Dani Olmo, and then Lamine Yamal grabbing a goal in that game there. And that was very, very vital because that result pushed them to the top of La Liga by 1 point. Because Real Madrid were held to a 1-1 draw by Barca's local rivals, Girona. Girona held them to a 1-1 draw. But of course, who else scored that goal? His 14th goal of the season, that is Kylian Mbappe, who is firing on all cylinders. Then Levante lost at home to Athletic Bilbao 2-0. Atletico Madrid beat Real Oviedo 2-0. Real Sociedad lost at home to Villarreal 3-2. 10-man Sevilla lost to Real Betis 2-0 in the Andalusian derby. And then, of course, Celta de Vigo lost at home to Espanyol, RCD Espanyol. And then tonight by 9 p.m., Rayo Vallecano will be playing against Valencia. This La Liga table looks this way. Barcelona are on top of the log after 14 games played with 34 points. Real Madrid are just behind by 1 point. Villarreal are third on the log. Atletico Madrid fourth on the log. Real Betis are fifth. And then Espanyol 6th. Getafe is 7th. Athletic Club as Athletic Bilbao 8th. Real Sociedad are 9th. LK are 10th. Rayo Vallecano 11th. And Celta de Vigo are 12th. Sevilla 13th. Alaves 14th. Mallorca 15th. Valencia 16th. Osasuna 17th. Then Girona, Levante, and Real Oviedo are in the relegation zone, 18th, 19th, and 20th, respectively. Now, big win for Barcelona, a 3-1 win, very, very vital, that puts them on top of the log by 1 point. But, La Liga is very, very tricky for them because, assuming that they have just a 1 point lead, but they must win Real Madrid win La Liga by points, because it is clear that Madrid are the contenders there by points. Because if they're going to be tied on points, the only way that they can be saved from an embarrassment of finishing on the same number of points with Madrid this season and still lose La Liga is if the head-to-head is inferior.
The El Clasico comes into play.
The next El Clasico comes into play. So assuming the next El Clasico ends up in a draw or a 1-0 win for Barcelona, and they still finish on the same number of points. Even if Barca have a superior goal difference, still based on head-to-head,
Madrid still takes the lead.
So how significant was that victory, and how much margin for error do we have when we're talking about 1 point separating them?
It means that when we talk about 1 point, yes, 1 point can actually give you the league rather. But the thing there is, it's still a risk to just be leading by 1 point, because any mistakes from any side will just, make the other person to take it. Just like Madrid literally made 3 consecutive mistakes in 3 consecutive games. Yes. They drew 3 straight games, and Barcelona capitalized, and we are having Barcelona on top now, which is good for them. So all I just see there is that Barcelona are taking their chances very well. They might not be so wonderful in the Champions League, but when it comes to the La Liga this season, they are trying their best to keep up with what's happening in the league, and that's why they are here now. They are on top form in La Liga, and then they are first in the league. Real Madrid are just slipping up. I think the majority of their goals now come through penalties now. Yeah. So that's it. That's all I have to say about that.
Madrid, well, this is giving me memories of things that happened. 2 memories, first in this same La Liga, because as it is right now, Barca have lost 2 after 14. Madrid have lost 1. But it's now down to the draws.
The draws.
Barca have one draw. Madrid has 3. Now, if you remember in 2006-2007 season, that was during Fabio Capello's second spell as Real Madrid manager.
That Rijkaard was in Barcelona.
Rijkaard,
yes. Coach Rijkaard,
yes. Rijkaard was in Barcelona.
That was during Ronaldinho era, younger Messi era.
Yes, exactly. So Frank Rijkaard was there. Yeah. So what happened was that Capello won La Liga on the last day of the season. They were tied on points. Barca had a far superior goal difference, but because of the 2-0 win in El Clasico at the Bernabeu and a 3-3 draw at Camp Nou, that was when Messi announced himself. He scored a hat-trick in that game. They won La Liga. Then this also is reminiscent of what happened in the English Premier League some seasons back. I think that was the season after that. That was 2007-2008 season. Liverpool lost 2 games that season. Manchester United lost 5 games, but Man U still won the league because Liverpool had too many draws. This issue of draws, Madrid needs to be extremely careful.
Exactly.
Dropping points is something that they don't want to be doing right now, because if you slip up,
your opponent takes over immediately.
All right, so we'll move straight to the B-ball, basketball. Basketball is my favorite game. Well, is it my favorite game? I don't know. But just have to try and go with the song, with the flow. Basketball results in the NBA. We had NBA results from 12 from midnight today. We had, of course, Cleveland Cavaliers losing by 115 points to Boston Celtic. No, 115 to 117. That's how it was. So Celtic got the win. And then New York Knicks thrashed the Toronto Raptors 116 points to 94 points. And then Philadelphia 76ers, after extra time, lost to Atlanta Hawks 142 to 134. Portland Trail Blazers lost to Oklahoma City Thunder by 123 points to 115 points. Minnesota Timberwolves beat San Antonio Spurs by 125 points to 112 points. The Memphis Grizzlies were too strong for Sacramento Kings when they beat them 115 points to 107 points. Then Los Angeles Lakers beat the Pelicans. They beat the Pelicans by 113. They beat the Pelicans, New Orleans Pelicans, by 133 to 121 points. That's how the NBA looks. The NBA is still in its infancy stage this season, but I think it's still too early to make permutations about who's going to wear the championship ring at the end of this season. Is it going to be an East Coast side, an Eastern Conference side, or a Western Conference side? Yeah. Are we going to see maybe the Milwaukee Bucks pull up a surprise this time around? Are we going to see Denver Nuggets do what they did not too long ago? Are we going to see LA Lakers with LeBron James and his son Bronny get back into the reckoning? Are we going to see maybe who knows, Golden State Warriors get back into reckoning with Steph Curry? So these are the different things we need to ask. We'll just be watching to see how the NBA unfolds this season. Yeah.
Okay. So left for me, I'm looking at the two main stars that you mentioned earlier. That is the person of Steph Curry and then LeBron James. Yeah, because these two are always at each other's neck. These are, I think currently right now in the game of basketball, I think these are the biggest names right now.
Because of the records they have.
Exactly.
They are big names because of the records they have.
Yeah, no, I'm saying the impact these guys have. The record speaks more volumes, louder than that of others. So I'm actually looking at LeBron James doing it. No offense to Steph Curry, but let's just see what happens then.
Okay, let's see how it goes. You know, the 3-point king and then the overall points king. Let's see who will be the king of kings. And that's the side of the package. Thank you very much for being with us on the Afia Sports review spot on Afia TV. Thank you very much to Emeka Madoka, the Prince of Football, who took the first side of the show. And then thank you very much to Queen Chikezie, who took the second side of the show. And I thank you very much to the Divinator, Divan Onwuka, who has come here to join us to the tail end of this show. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much also, the floor managers that was here, the cameraman, Wisdom, and then of course you have Ibube right there. We see you, we appreciate you. And then Moxie behind the MCR, so the PCR and MCR man there. We'll do this again on Thursday during the banter box. But today, stay blessed and have a blessed month ahead. I'm Sisi the Rabbi. I'm signing out.